Oh, yeah. Thank you to my fine producing staff that has pointed out I'm apparently 61 today.
Happy 61st, Glenn.
Thank you very much. It's actually my 21st anniversary of my 21st birthday, so I think I get double drink specials tonight. Welcome to the program with talent on loan from everybody who has ever worked at customer service. Yeah, so it's going to be a good show. Hello and welcome to the program. It is Clothesline Friday, where you can phone in about anything that we have talked about or anything that we missed talking about. Yeah, we pretty much relax the phone screening parameters today, and you can get in and really you drive the show today. The number is 888-727-BECK. But I've got a few things that I want to discuss. Now, I am going to explain to you exactly how to make money in America in just a few minutes. I developed this system in great detail yesterday because yesterday I had to get my driver's license in the great state of Connecticut. I have never experienced anything like it. Sincerely, you can take every cable installer, satellite installer, phone company, government employee, every bad waiter, waitress, where they're spitting in your food, take all of those experiences and roll them into one event, and that's the event I had yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry, you should probably times it by 100, and that was the event I had. It all started with me trying to get my driver's license on Wednesday. I had to be there by 4:30. That's what the website said. Because I'm out of state, now moving to Connecticut, I had to go at, I get there at 4:03 and a rush back from the city, blah, 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 blah. 4:03. Not a soul in line. Nobody's there. This is on Wednesday. Walked directly up to the counter, and I'm like, oh, this is sweetness. She said, oh, you're from out of state. And I said, yeah. And she said, yeah, you needed to be here by 4. I look at my watch, and I said, it's 4:03, and it didn't say that on the website. She said, yeah, we close it down a half hour early because you need to take an eye test. And I said, well, it's 4:03. She said, yeah, we just closed the eye test down. I looked at her, and I said, did the doctors go home? It's 3 minutes. I'm 3 minutes late. You can't help me? She said, no, you're going to have to come back tomorrow. So I come back. Now, I can't rush back from the city, so I'm there at 5, which is a brilliant idea on my part. Get there at 5 yesterday. 5! All I need to do is take a stupid eye test and get my driver's license picture taken. That's it! By the way, the lady, she said to me, oh, when I was there at 4:03 the day before, she said, oh, you don't have a Connecticut driver's license? And I said, no, I have a Pennsylvania. I said, you know what? Wait a minute. I think I have my old Connecticut driver's license. I said, it's expired, but I have that. And she said, oh, well, that would be helpful. So I go out in the car and I go out and I get it. I bring it back. She looks at it and she says, oh, this is great. You have a Connecticut driver's license. And I said, yeah. And she said, okay, great. What you need to do is you need to go down to this lady over here. And then you'll still have to take care of everything, but this helps a great deal. And I said, oh, okay, great. I said, what do you mean I have all the other stuff I have to do? She said, well, you still have to take your eye test. And I said, but I can take it now? And she said, oh, no, you have to come back tomorrow. How does this license help me? So I come back yesterday, 5 o'clock, and I'm in line. And have you ever walked into a driver's license place where people look at you that are in line like, don't come in here. Don't do it. You're about to be sucked in. We're all zombies. We're all slaves. Help, help, help. That's the look in everybody's eyes. Like, do you have a rope? Please tell me you have a rope, because we would all like to hang ourselves. I come in, and, there I am, fresh meat, and the woman in front of me is standing there, and I said, line's not moving, is it? She said, no, And this is the second line I've waited in. The first line I waited in, apparently the wrong line, so I've already been here an hour. And I said, oh, great. So we sit there, and it takes us about an hour to get up. And the great thing about the great state of Connecticut is when you go into the line, if you have been late, if you're late, they reward you. Here's what I mean. As I'm standing in the line, it's just, and now the woman in front of me is the next at the counter, waited an hour, then me. And somebody comes out from behind the counter and says, is there anybody here that is here just for motorcycle? Or is there anybody here who needs a test? Or is there anybody here that that needs a learner's permit? Well, like 6 people raised their hand. They said, great, come up to the front of the line. They push us back and take the people from the back of the line and put them in front of us. And I'm like, what kind of ridiculous system is this? So then we wait again. Now it's about an hour and 20 minutes. I finally get everything, and the woman says to me, she said, well, you've got all your paperwork already finished. And I said, yeah, I was here yesterday. And she said, what do you mean you were here yesterday? I said, I was here at 4:03. And she just laughed. And I said, thank you. And she said, no, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's just amazing how some people are treated here. And I said, yeah. And she said, they didn't give you a pass to get to the front of the line? I said, pass? She said, yeah, she should have given you a pass so you could just walk right up to the front and get this taken care of. I said, no, I didn't get a pass. She said, yeah, passes are really helpful. You got to go stand in that line now. And I said, can I get a pass from you? She said, no, you would have had to get that yesterday. Oh, well, thank you. So now I go into the next line. And again, they let people cut in front of everybody else who's standing in line. Agonizing system. The guy behind me now, he's starting to talk about this system. And he said, you know what? I think my 4-year-old could design a better system than this. The interesting thing is the way the people at the DMV move. I've seen slow motion. I've seen it, like on the Super Bowl. I saw slow motion. Do you remember when who was it? It was Pittsburgh caught the ball and then fell, and it was right on the line, and you weren't sure, was he across the line? Is that a touchdown or not? And they kept playing, and it was slow motion forward. It was slower than that. The employees actually moved slower than that. One guy told me yesterday, I've never seen anything like this. And he was serious, this is actually impressive. On how much they've slowed this system down, I don't think I could find a way to intentionally slow it down even more. So finally get up to the front of the line, and what was great is all of us there, as you get close to the front of the line, we all knew what everybody working behind the counter was going to do this weekend because they were talking about it the whole time. God forbid they actually did work. They were all talking about how the fact that today is, I don't know if you know this, today is a holiday. Friday. Yeah, today's a holiday. Did you know that? Yeah, it's a holiday because it's Abraham Lincoln's birthday on Sunday. So today, the DMV in Connecticut closes at 11 o'clock. They work a full, now, seriously, they work a full 3 hours today. I mean, wow. They work a full 3 hours today. Then, of course, they're closed on Saturday. Abraham Lincoln's birthday is on Sunday and closed all day Monday. When somebody pointed out, because they were told they had to come back because they were standing in the wrong line, and there was now no longer time to check their VIN number because it was dark. And I thought to myself, don't you own a flashlight? That person had to come back, and she said, well, can I come back tomorrow? They said, oh, no, it's Abraham Lincoln's birthday this weekend, so we won't be open again until till Tuesday. And somebody else in line checked their calendar and said, President's Day weekend is next weekend. They said, oh, yeah, no, that's President's Day weekend. We have that weekend off as well. This is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. And I'm thinking, you are taking 3 days off for Abraham Lincoln's birthday and President's Day? For the love of Pete, didn't Abraham Lincoln free the slaves? I should be the guy who has the time off. I feel like I've been imprisoned and enslaved by you people. So I'm standing there now at the front of the line listening to these sweet women talk about what they have planned this weekend. It was great. The one on the right, she's going to take her kids out, and they're going to have a good time. They were going to go into the city over the weekend. They were going to do some shopping and maybe see a Broadway show, et cetera, et cetera. But the woman on the other side said, well, you better not do that because there's a big winter snowstorm coming. And no, really? Is there a big winter storm? Yeah, I heard that it could be 6 inches. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, but it could be worse. It could be 20 inches. Can you imagine 20 inches, what it would do in the city? 20 inches? Oh, you'll never get down the Merritt Parkway. Blah, 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 blah. Shut up and process the driver's license! So I get to the front and I see the woman who, by the way, was going to take her kids into the city. And I'm standing there and I just want the process to be over. We are now at 2 hours and 5 minutes. And this is the second pair of hands that have looked at my paperwork. And I said, she processes everything. And I said, I don't mean to be rude. I said, but I've been here for 2 hours and 5 minutes so far. And my wife was picking me up and she's pregnant and my child is in there too. I said, I'm going to send her home. Can you tell me, can you give me an estimate? How long is it going to take? Because I had to stand in the third line. How long is it going to take to get from here to the end? She looked at me and gave me the dirtiest look I've ever received. She said, sir, it'll be an hour. And I said, you're kidding me, right? Because all I had to do was have my picture taken. I said, you're kidding me, right? And she said, it'll be an hour. And I turned back to the person behind me, and the person behind me said, I've been watching the people over there. It's not going to take you an hour. And I said, okay. And I said, are you being serious with me or are you joking? She said, an hour. I took my paperwork, and she said, go stand in that line over there. I stood in that line over there. I watched 5 people behind me have their picture taken before me. This woman, I truly believe, put my paper, held on to my paperwork, shuffled it down to the bottom to punish me for asking politely, how much longer is this going to take? I really did ask politely. She punished me. When I got over to the other side, this is when the insanity began. Okay? Up until this point, I'm in a relatively good mood because it's been entertaining to watch these. I'm telling you, I mean this sincerely. You could be a quadriplegic with serious mental deficiencies, and you would be more effective and faster than the people that I watched for 2 hours at this point. But you haven't been introduced to the king of all government employees yet. So I'm standing in this line, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and people keep coming up and that were behind me and passing me. And one guy says, it's almost like she's punishing you. And I said, oh, I think she has. And he said, I learned you never say anything to these people. He said, because they will punish you. And I said, is it just me? Or, I think she is punishing me. And he said, oh, yeah, I think she punished you. I said, all I did was ask. And we were like, it was like we were in the principal's office or something. It was like we were in some like Iranian prison where we're standing there and, he would say, oh, I think she has it. But if anybody walked by you or anybody who was working there looked your way, you were immediately like, they're looking this way, don't say anything. And you wouldn't want to say a darn thing because he was afraid he was going to be punished for talking to me because I asked a question. So I'm standing there, and I'm watching the guy who has to take the pictures. This guy's about 55 years old, pasty white, never seen the sun, the slowest guy I have ever encountered. This guy did things like... this one woman, she was Japanese, and now when I say she's Japanese, she spoke English, but he insisted on speaking slowly and loudly to, ma'am, do you understand you have to sign your name here? Yes, I understand. Okay, sign your name here. Okay. She signs her name, and it doesn't come through on the computer. Now, I'm sitting here with a group of guys, and we can see his computer. He hasn't hit reset. It won't take. And he says, okay, that didn't work. Ma'am, you have to sign your name. She said, I did. You have to, like a credit card, ma'am, sign your name. I did sign my name. Would you please sign it again? Okay. He doesn't hit reset. It doesn't take. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with the machine. Ma'am, sign your name again. I did. He actually puts his hands up and says, okay, I can't deal with this customer. He makes an announcement. I cannot deal with this customer. She said, but I'm signing my name. He said, ma'am, step away from the counter, please. Step away from the counter. I cannot deal with it. But I just signed my name. Okay, all right, we're going to play this game. I'll show you what happens when I can't deal with you. He gets up and walks away from his station, walks around the entire DMV, comes back, looks at her and says, now, have you learned your lesson? Because I'll walk again. And we're all, you've got to be kidding me. So he sits back down. Ma'am, now sign your name. She signs it. It's nothing. The guy next to me, who, is a computer genius, I guess, he says, sir, you've got to reset the computer. You have to click on reset or it won't take. The guy who's standing in line knows how to operate the computer system better than the guy using the computer system every day. He looks at him, gives him the dirtiest look and said, excuse me, I'm not talking to you. Do you want me to take a walk? We look at each other like, no, don't take a walk. He says to the woman, this is his fix. He says to the woman, sign your name. She signs it again. Didn't take. Ma'am, you're just going to have to go back in line. We'll just have to try you some other time. She says, what? He says, ma'am, back away from the table. So she goes back in line. Wait. It gets much worse, and it ends with a security guard approaching me. Okay, now the poor Japanese woman has just been put back into line for no reason other than the guy couldn't figure out the reset. He calls the next person to line. Again, not me, because I've been screwed. I've been taught a lesson by the woman over in line number 2. And so the next person comes up, and he figures, I should hit he doesn't want to claim that he now understands that the guy standing next to me was right. So he hits the little reset button, and the next person, you need to sign your name here, signs, blah, 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 done. Then he calls the Japanese lady back, hits reset. She signs. What a surprise. It works this time. All right, ma'am. Now, this has taken about 15 minutes, all right? Another woman who has been standing there for a long time, has already had her picture taken, is just waiting, says to the guy, excuse me, but I've been waiting here for about 20 minutes, and everybody else's pictures have already come through. Can you check? Has mine been printed yet? Again, he puts his hand up. I cannot deal with this customer. Ma'am, back away from the table. I mean it, back away from the table, or I will take a walk. She says, okay. She backs into like this aisle area. It's about 6 feet wide. Backs into this aisle area and says, could you just check? Ma'am, you are blocking a fire exit. What will happen? I am not making a word of this up. What will happen if there is a fire? That's when I am, it's the beginning. I'm really not at my breaking point, but I'm at the beginning of my breaking point, and I say something stupid. I say to him, maybe people behind the counter would move faster than they're moving currently. That was a problem. That really started to make things spiral out of control. In fact, he took, at that point, his second walk to teach us all a lesson. Oh, but wait, he takes a third. I'm telling a story, in case you missed it, of my DMV experience in the great state of Connecticut yesterday, which was phenomenal. Never, ever have witnessed anything like it. You can take every bad experience you've ever had with government employees, waitresses, everything, roll it all into one, times it by 10, and it still is not as bad as it's the worst experience I've ever had, and I've had some bad ones before. Oh, yeah, I move a lot. I've had cable operators to my house time and time again. Nothing. They're rookies compared to the government employees in Connecticut. Ooh, by the way, the latest news on the chief government employee, Governor Rowland, he was released from prison today, which is, that's a nice little extra special thing that they like to do from time to time, release government employees from prison in Connecticut. So let me finish up the story. We were there with the Japanese lady who spoke perfect English, but was spoken to like this, ma'am. Your eyes look a little different than mine, so you must not speak English. Who couldn't get her driver's license. She was taken care of. The guy standing next to me who was trying to help the guy learn how to use his computer, even though you could tell he was a very long-term employee there. And, of course, the woman who was just asking, has my license come out of the machine because I've been waiting here 15, 20 minutes? And he said, back up, ma'am, or I'm going to have to, I cannot deal with this employee or this customer. And by the way, customer implies that I have a choice, but that's a different story. I can't deal with this customer. And so she backs into the 6-foot wide aisle and he says, ma'am, now you're blocking a fire exit. A fire egress. And, what happens if there's a fire? And in a moment of weakness, I say out loud to him, when he says, what would happen if there's a fire? I said, maybe the, employees here would move a little faster than they're currently moving. Not a good idea. May I recommend? Not a good idea. But I'm a slow learner. I've already been taught my lesson for asking a question politely in line number 2. I'm in line number 3, and I do this. Dumb. Everybody next to me kind of clears their throat, and after he looks away, looks at me and smiles. Everybody's terrified to say anything because they know they'll be punished. She backs up against the wall because she's blocking the fire egress, and it's not good enough. She's standing next to other people in the wall, but it's still not good enough. Ma'am, if you don't move right now, I'm going to take a walk. I have to take a walk. She doesn't move because she's so confused as to what the hell are you even talking about. He takes another walk. And he walks away from his desk and walks all the way around all of the lines, all of the DMV, and then comes back. Have you learned your lesson? I'll deal with you when I can. The woman next to him that's working the next counter grabs onto his arm and says, Bob, or whatever his name is, Bob, it's not worth it. You got to let it go. It's not worth it. I just can't deal with these people. I just can't deal with these. I'm just out of my mind, seething here. So he gets my paperwork, finally, and asks me to come up and take my picture. For some reason, my paperwork's not in order. Well, why would it be in order? Only 2 other state-employed hands have looked at it. I'm sorry, 4 hands have looked at it. 2 other lines, why would it be in order? What a surprise. And I said, not in order. He said, nope, I'm going to have to do some extra work. So he walks away, and he's gone for about 5 minutes. He finally comes back. Okay, take your picture, sign your name, blah, blah, blah. He does. I'm home free. I actually feel as though I've won the lottery because I know at some point my number, my license is going to come out of that machine. I'm going to be the winner that can go home. We're now 2 hours, 50 minutes into the process of getting my driver's license. 2 hours, 50 minutes. There's 2 lines to get your picture taken. So there's 2 people calling out names, Johnson, Makowitz, they're calling out names, and they're coming up and getting them. But nobody has been called from my line. I'm waiting for my driver's license. The lady next to him keeps calling out names. They keep printing the driver's license, but he's not calling out anybody's name. I'm next, and all the people after me are still waiting. We wait an additional 15 minutes. I approach and said, excuse me, sir, can you check your machine? Is there a problem? Nothing has been spitting out. He again puts his hand, okay, I cannot, walks a 3rd time. At the time that he walks around the 3rd time, I can't deal with these customers. The guy standing next to me, who's a rookie, he's new in the 3rd line, he's standing next to me. He looks at me and then looks at everybody else, and then he starts looking up at the ceilings with absolute sincerity. He says to me, are we on TV? He thought they were filming one, like Candid Camera. I said, no, brother, this is as real as it gets. He said, you're kidding me, right? This is a TV show. I said, this is the 3rd time he's walked. He comes back. Before he comes back, that guy next to me says, there got to be something wrong with his machine. Ma'am, can you check his machine? When the guy comes back, she says to him, your printer is out of ink. You got to replace your cartridge. And he said, I'll get to it. And he starts to process more paper. He just looks down at the paperwork. And she says, you got to change your cartridge. People are waiting. He says, I'll get to it. That's when I said, sir, we have been waiting here for 3 hours. Change your cartridge. He puts his hand up. I am not dealing with you, sir. And continues to do paperwork. Another government employee comes to change, doesn't say anything to him, doesn't say anything to us, just comes and changes the cartridge for him so he doesn't have to. All of the backlog of all the driver's license start to print. He takes, guess who's first? He takes a deal out. He leans down. We're all literally 5 feet away from him. He leans down to the microphone. He doesn't even pick up the microphone. It's laying on his desk. He leans down. His face is now next to the desk. Beck, Glenn. I walk up. He puts my driver's license on the counter. I grab it. I walk away. I am, John, how far would you say that fax machine is from me? 20 feet, 15 feet? 15, 20 feet. I am 15, 20 feet away from that guy. And I say nothing to him. I just grab my driver's license and walk out. He leans over the counter and says, "You're welcome." This is when the security guard got a little nervous. The state patrol that has a gun started walking my way. I stopped dead in my tracks, and it was in one of those moments that you say to yourself, is it worth it? Yes, it was. So I turn around and I come back and I said, I can't believe you expect me to say thank you for this service. Sir, I have seen bad employees. I've seen bad government employees. I've seen horrible government employees. You, sir, are a miracle of horrible employees. I can't believe that you are employed. It is a miracle to the economy that you have a job. And I just walked away. Security guard was about 2 feet from me, and I said it that loud. Nobody in line said anything. No, everybody was like, don't look at him, don't look at him. They're going to punish us if we're looking at him. Don't say anything. I turn around and walk out. I again get about 15 to 20 feet away. And he says, "You're welcome." I now understand why it is against state and federal law to carry a concealed weapon in any government establishment. Whew. Okay, so in that 3 hour period, 3 hours and 5 minutes that it took me to get my license, I developed a system. I developed a clear understanding on how to gain employment in America, where you would find yourself on the food chain in America, and how to become rich. It's really not that difficult. I'll share it next. 888-727-BECK, 888-727-BECK. I'm going to give you the food chain of employees and where you find yourself, how to be successful, how to be rich. I'm going to give that to you here in just a second, but I want to take some phone calls. Let me go to Jason in Miami. Hello, Jason. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, G-Man.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jason.
You're welcome. I just wanted to comment on the DMV thing. I live in South Florida, and I have to tell you that it's an entire day that you got to take off with your job in order to go to the DMV. I mean, you might as well stick bamboo shoots up your fingernails.
Oh, I got to tell you, I've had my license in Florida, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was tough, but it wasn't that bad. Pennsylvania, quite possibly the best place to get a driver's license. I dealt with, count this, one line, one person. They looked at all the stuff. They filled out the paperwork. They took the picture. They handed you the license. I was in and out maybe 10 minutes, to be honest. Maybe 10 minutes. John says he's done it in 5 minutes in Pennsylvania. They got it down. Farm it out, Pennsylvania. Nothing like it, like I saw in Connecticut yesterday. I've never seen anything like it. And we actually talked in line. Because it was kind of a neat experience. Everybody kind of bonded, we were all on the same slave ship, if you will. And I pointed out loudly to, because we were all laughing and joking about how incompetent the government is. And I pointed out, I said, hey, anybody in line is for government health care? Here it is, baby. Here it is in action. Can you imagine what it would be like? And it was amazing to watch because I wanted to compliment one person, but it wasn't worth waiting in line for a manager. I wanted to compliment one person because there's this one lady that I watched, because I watched all of them sit around, and there must be problems with the cubicles standing up on their own because there were so many people leaning up against them, make sure they were upright. But this one woman, she was great. She was going into the line and she was finding really old people. She found like this 78-year-old guy who was standing there and just looked very, very weak. She came out from her cubicle and she'd do it once in a while. She'd scan the crowd and then she'd come out and she'd say, "Sir, could you come with me?" And he said, "Well, what is?" And she said, "Just come with me." And comes around, brings him to where there is no line and processes him so he didn't have to stand in line. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. There's a good government employee. When I ran into who I like to refer to as the government employee from the 7th level of hell, it crossed my mind. I should complain. But they don't care. I would have waited 20 minutes to talk to a manager, and what are they going to do? Fire the guy? They're not going to fire the guy. It is the sweetest gig on planet Earth. Why would you do a good job? I mean, the people who were competent there and just doing their job, I mean, they looked like Einstein sitting next to the Antichrist. I mean, how do you lose that job? If that guy still has a job, how do you lose a job? Don't tell me that the economy stinks. Don't tell me that you can't find a job. Jeez, if these people can have a job, you can't find one? What exactly is wrong with you? You know what I mean? How is it? You know what's happening? You're turning down jobs because you think they're beneath you if you're not working in this economy. You know, I got to tell you, the one great thing about having bad service for an extended period of time yesterday was it gave me a great idea. I got to talk to CNN today, see if we can get a hidden camera for our television show, because I want to do time-elapsed photography and showcase the worst employees around the nation. We've got to find a way to do a segment of, you think you've met a bad employee? Look at the one we just encountered. It's got to be a segment on our new TV show about just unbelievable bad employees. Look for it coming in April.